Thank you, Laskin Carlo. Well, I'm delighted to speak on this motion on the arts and culture tonight. My party and I thought it important to facilitate the House with an opportunity to debate this important sector, given the debate that is currently taking place outside the House. I welcome and thank the deputies from other political parties and from none who have supported our motion in support of arts and culture, and also acknowledge the members of the Upper House will debate a similar motion tomorrow evening. I welcome the visitors in the gallery tonight. The numbers present highlight the concern of many people within this sector. The recent Indicon report shows that the arts provide significant direct and indirect employment. The arts sector supports 21,300 jobs and contributes 306.8 billion in taxes. But when the wider creative industry is included, such as film, animation, archives, museums, the arts is supporting 79,000 jobs and 4.7 billion to the economy annually. Cultural tourism, according to Fáil Ireland, now accounts for a spend of over 2 billion annually, with very healthy projected double-digit increases year on year. The gathering in 2013 exemplifies a new tourism dynamic in which our cultural attractions, reputation for delivering outstanding artistic experiences, and our cultural heritage will play a significant role. While not to diminish the value of the economic activity and the importance of national solvency, we all live in a society, not an economy. And contrary to popular belief, the arts are not a minority interest. Recent figures show that 66% of the adult population is arts attendees. The government have been at pains to say how they are working so hard to rebuild our international reputation. A reputation, I might add, while in opposition they didn't care much about when everything they did was politically motivated. Irish artists are internationally acclaimed, many having received very prestigious awards. Nobel laureate Seamus Heaney recently received the Griffith Poetry Prize for his lifetime achievements. Similarly, Brendan O'Carroll and other actors brought many BAFTA awards back to Ireland. All these enhance our prestige and, of course, keep us in the spotlight. This year, Imagine Ireland Festival in the United States has sent thousands of artists to 40 states, joining with hundreds of thousands of people and generating multi-million dollars worth of positive media coverage. Apart from the brand awareness which the arts create internationally, arts are playing a pivotal role in our communities. Recently, members of the Arts Committee, our Committee of Arts and Culture, received many presentations from various arts groups, varying from inner-city groups working with the disadvantaged, helping create a sense of identity, confidence, and helping others live out their lives creatively, to rural arts projects of which the same can be said. Sustained investment in infrastructure and capacity over the past decade has created a dynamic arts sector that produces in excess of 12,000 arts events and festivals annually. And when I think of my own constituency, I think of the magnificent work being carried out by Mullingar Arts Centre, where I was there on Saturday night at a full house, at the Backstage Theatre in Longford, and the Dean Crowe Centre in Athlone. All venues supported by the Arts Council in conjunction with their local authorities, and without such support would not be in operation today. To my mind, a group that encompasses both international, national and community culture is Comhaltas Ceoltarí na hÉireann. Down the years, Comhaltas has promoted respect for all traditions on this island, and to underline this, the Fleadh Cheoil na hÉireann will next year be held in Derry, where all traditions will be involved. Fleadh Cheoil na hÉireann, which this year will be held in Cavan for the third year, attracts attendances of up to 300,000 people and generates €40 million for the host region. As we approach a decade of commemoration, it is time to take stock. We must recognise the fundamental importance of cultural value as a component of public value. Our preeminence on the international scale in terms of cultural heritage has been a significant contributor to our national identity, pride and prestige. The national cultural institutions are our independent guardians of cultural heritage. The role of cultural institutions as political, institutional, cultural and social repositories of collective history is vital to mediating and interpreting our history so that it is widely appreciated and understood. These institutions, many of which precede the founding of the state, will play a central role mediating the experiences of 1916. It will be a damning legacy of this government if these institutions, so central to the narrative of our journey before and since independence, were profoundly compromised as we approached the centenary of so many significant events in our national history. In light of this, it is extremely disappointing that the Minister failed to engage in a swift, meaningful and purposeful consultation with the national cultural institutions. This is not an accusation coming from an opposition TD, but is what has been said about your Minister by the sector themselves. Meaningful consultation is essential for all effective reform. The complete absence of an official framework through which the sector could effectively contribute to the formalisation of effective and positive reform is of grave concern. Consultation, such as it has been, has resulted from the political pressure of recent weeks. In fact, many believe that if it was not with the resignation of Professor Ferriter from the National Library, the issue wouldn't be receiving the attention it deserves. Given where we are currently physically, the sector recognises the need for budgetary discipline and embraces the principle of reform. In fact, the galleries, the National Gallery, IMA and Crawford, have submitted a document on where greater efficiencies can be achieved through shared services, while at the same time retaining their own independence.
3 minutes left, Deputy.
It is essential that reform is evidence-based and takes account of international best practice. It is essential that a thorough cost-basis analysis on the proposed rationalisation of the national cultural institutions is conducted rigorously and in the public domain. I posed a question to the Minister why a cost-basis analysis has not been carried out. And if it has been carried out, please identify the savings that these mergers would generate. There are 113 national archives in the world, and only 2 of them are merged with a national library. The recent Canadian merger of these 2 institutions ended up costing an additional 15 million Canadian dollars. The independence and autonomy of the sector is crucial. Political interference should be avoided at all costs. For over 60 years, governments have adhered to the arm's-length principle. Successive acts of legislation have enshrined the principle of independence in our cultural institutions. That freedom is especially important in the arts, where the competencies, expertise and networks at both director and board level of cultural institutions are critical. Sound governance, intellectual rigour and creative autonomy at the helm of our institutions is more important than political expediency or short-term budgetary outlooks, especially so in the decade of commemorations. The then Minister for Arts and now our current President, Michael D. Higgins, introduced the National Cultural Institutions Act 1997, allowing the National Library to appoint its own independent board with required expertise. The current proposal would require existing Labour TDs to rescind this legislation, and I ask myself, for what? Directors of the National Cultural Institutions have a significant cultural leadership role. The sector insists on an open, transparent and independently adjudicated competition for director positions of each of our NCIs. Unfortunately, and by no means I'm insinuating that the new appointee CEO of the Culture Ireland is not qualified for the post, the advertising process was not opened up externally. What happened to the commitment in the programme for government to ensure that all public appointments would be opened to external candidates? If boards are merged or subsumed, where would this leave the plan for such a recruitment process and succession plan for each and every NCI? How will our NCIs respond to the challenges of the decade ahead in a leadership vacuum, given that by this time next year, 4 of our national cultural institutions will have effectively been decapitated: the National Library, National Archives, National Museum and Culture Ireland. How does the Department propose to provide these institutions with the competencies, expertise, networks and vision formally proposed by independent directors and boards? What are the exact costs of these boards? When you look back at the various people who served on the various cultural institution boards, they offered their expertise to an institution in which they loved and wished to see develop, not for any financial remunerations. Independent boards are better placed to seek philanthropy, are better placed for funding, and offer sound corporate governance. If the proposed mergers were to go ahead, it would lead to an erosion of institutional independence, an overreaching on the part of the department in the work of these institutions. Does the department even have the capacity for the additional workload? It highlights the cultural policy vacuum created by this government and profoundly compromising on the capacity of these institutions to deliver on their core mission of providing public access to our cultural assets. So, in the absence of no-cost basis analysis, in the absence of a no-vision statement, we don't know how these new proposals are going to deliver a better service or offer better access to the public or increase the visitors' numbers to these centres. I would ask and urge all members to support this motion tonight, and I look forward to listening to what the Minister has to say and various other members.